You're watching Maine Biz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
In the early 1980s, David Shaw, having just turned 30, was commuting every week from Maine to his international management consulting job in the Boston area. The travel was draining, and Shaw began to think of other ways to live. As a consultant, he began to notice untapped markets in the animal health field that could be pursued right away from Maine and for a modest initial investment. In 1993, IDEX was incorporated, and the rest, as they say, is history. Here to talk about that history and to discuss his views about doing business and investing in the current economic climate is David Shaw. Welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
First, let me start with just a brief from your bio, so our viewers will know who we're talking about here. You are the founder and executive chairman of Icaria, a biopharmaceuticals company, in 2008 with revenues of $240 million. Founder and retired CEO of IDEX Laboratories, one of the fastest growing companies in the 1990s. And you've also been the director or founding investor of numerous high technology companies and venture capital firms. And currently you are serving as a managing partner of Blackpoint Group, a family partnership investment firm. Is that correct?
That's right.
Good. Recently served on the faculty of Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government, leading programs in corporate governance and business social responsibility. Been the chair of Jackson Labs, many other kind of corporate and nonprofit boards you've served on, and frequent speaker on entrepreneurial public service and business schools and other venues in the U.S., Europe, China, and Japan. Whew, that's busy. Good.
And 4 grandchildren.
Yeah, well, that's right, and married with 4 grandchildren, so that just rounds it all out. So, thanks for being here. We're going to cover a number of different topics today. We have you for the whole half hour. But first I want to talk about kind of the early days and the IDEX experience, founding IDEX, how that came to be, and the experience of doing business in Maine. Then we're going to broaden it out and talk about just your advice to businesses in general. So let's start with IDEX. Tell us how that came to be.
Maybe I'll start with a little bit of perspective,
okay.
Which is, I think, where a lot of people would share the view that we're living in the most important period of scientific discovery and knowledge development in history. And in the last half century, we've seen these amazing revolutions in technology like microelectronics and biotechnology and the internet and so forth. So in the early 80s, during the management consulting times that you mentioned, the biotechnology revolution was just getting underway. And new technology that was derived from that revolution was transforming human health. So diagnostics, for example, as well as drugs, but diagnostic tests that you would use in a hospital or a doctor's office. And what I decided to do, and I wrote a concept for this on a airplane one day, was to use that technology to transform animal health and certain kinds of food and environmental testing. So,
but why did you pick that area?
Well, it was an underserved market. Everyone else was focused.
You saw an advantage, a strategic advantage.
Yeah, and often in the business I'm in, you have to believe that the conventional wisdom is wrong, and everyone else was pursuing human health. I decided to look elsewhere. So it was an underserved market. Maybe also to your point, importantly, is in a technology business, it's important to be the market leader. There are lots of rewards to being the leader in the market and not many rewards to being number 3 or 4. So the concept was that a small startup company could potentially, it was a bold idea, could potentially dominate that market because it was underserved. So I went off to some of the leading companies in the field, Abbott Laboratories and others, convinced some people to leave some great jobs in leading companies, move to Maine, occupy a little building on the Portland waterfront, and IDEX was born at that point with that great team, with an attitude sort of that I'd rather be a pirate than join the Navy, I guess.
Let me ask you about that, recruiting that talent and recruiting them to Maine. How was that? I know that sometimes some companies have trouble getting that kind of talent to come here.
For the right people, I think they can't believe how lucky they are to get a job offer. And for other people, they would never consider it. So I just kept looking until I found the first kind, the people that thought that the lifestyle and the quality of life and this opportunity was something that they'd always been looking for.
So it's not going to be that person who needs to be in that, quote, fat market where they can move around among lots of different biotech firms. This is one group that says, no, I want to be here and do this.
No, but it's a factor, obviously. For in a world where people change jobs fairly frequently, it's a big job consideration. People often like to stay in big markets like Boston or the Bay Area or San Diego, where if they move from one job to another, they don't have to change homes and their kids don't have to change schools. So it is more difficult to be in a lesser market.
Okay. Let's talk just a little bit about, so you started it. It was a very successful company. You then stepped out of IDEX in 2002, I believe. Is that correct?
That's right.
Tremendous growth in the 90s, successful by all measures, I think, and we can say that. Talked about just what was your business strategy for growing it and growing it so fast?
In a technology business, you really need to be the world leader in your sector. You need to be the best in the world at what you do, or you can't. Or you're not in a safe position. When you look at all the examples of technology companies, the rewards of being number 2 or number 3 and certainly number 5 or 10 are not very great. Okay. So IDEX is spelled with 2 X's and people make a lot of that. We often said, 2 X's, we'd like to have 2 times the market share of the next closest competitor and things like that. So, and we had many 2X awards in the company, and I'm sure that those still exist.
So even beyond your initial focus, when you decided which new kind of product lines to go to, it was based on, can we capture that leadership position?
Can we develop products that are so good, that using this transformational technology that are so good that a customer would never think of using a competitor's product?
Good. We're going to take a short break, then we're going to come back and we're going to talk some more.
Great.
Hold on. We'll be right back to talk more with David Shaw. We'll learn about his latest Maine-based venture, and we'll ask how man's best friend can also be a business's best market niche. Stay tuned.
Maine Biz Sunday is brought to you by Bangor Savings Bank, where you can enjoy free ATMs worldwide.